Open source AI like DeepSeek and Qwen has been all the craze, and so today we're going to learn how to create our ultimate team of AI agents to work for us like JARVIS using open source models. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Today we're going to be building our own team of AI agents to work for us like our own JARVIS, being able to access our contact list and send out emails and calendar invites, or even search the internet for any information that we want. And all this can be done just by talking to it on Telegram like your own personal AI assistant. So let's get into a quick demo to showcase how this actually works. As you can see over here on the left, this is Cal AI, my AI assistant, and today he's going to help us search the internet and get information for us, sending out emails as well as calendar invites. So we're going to start off with something simple. Let's say we want to search for the latest Blackpink news and send it to one of our prospect emails. So you can see over here in this contact list, we do have a couple of email addresses that we can actually access in our contact list. So let's use this simple example of Kelvin to see how this actually works. Right. Okay, so let's start by talking to our AI and asking it to do the task for us. I'm going to click this button. Hey there, could you search the latest article on Blackpink and summarize it to less than 50 words and send it to Kelvin with the link attached to it as well in a fun and exciting manner. Okay, from here we're going to test the workflow and see what happens. And you can see from here the AI is actually processing, getting the contact information using the contact agent. And then from there, it's going to use Tavily to search the information about the latest news on Black. And it's going to use the email agent to send an email to Kelvin. Alright, and now that it's done, let's take a look at our Telegram bot. You can see the email has been sent to Kelvin. So let's check out the email that has been created. Okay, let's go into email. Alright, you can see over here, the email has been sent to Kelvin about the latest scope on Blackpink. This is the latest article about Blackpink talking about their 2025 tour as well as Jisoo's debut mini album Amo Touch. Let's check out the link as well. And you can see over here, this link is actually quite recent. In fact, this is an article from yesterday. So this is actually pretty up to date and pretty cool as well. So you can see this is really one of the fun and interesting things you can do with our AI agent. And of course, beyond that, let's test out a few more examples to showcase the power of it. And so let's come back to our agent again. And this time, let's see if we can retrieve the information about what's the schedule for us tomorrow. Let's ask the AI agent now on what we have tomorrow. Hey, can you check on what is the schedule I have for tomorrow and give me a summary of it? Let's test out the workflow and let's see what happens. You can see from here in the back end, it's actually going to use the calendar agent to search for the information about our calendar and see what we have for tomorrow. Okay, and once that is done, let's come back to Telegram. You can see this is the schedule. Meet with Samuel at 11 to 1 p.m. Lunch with Johnny at 2 to 3:30 p.m. and AI automation plans from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Let's take a look at our calendar to see if it actually matches our timetable. So you can see over here, yes, it's exactly what we have put up here. So that's pretty cool. And also as our personal assistant, our personal JARVIS, we could also use this as a way to help us schedule meetings and events as well. So perhaps looking at our calendar schedule, we could then ask it to schedule a meeting for us. All we got to do is just to ask the AI once again to do the task for us. So let's ask it, hey Derek, could you help me schedule a meeting with Kelvin tomorrow from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. to talk about Blackpink and send him an email invite as well. We'll let the workflow run and we'll see what happens. So to help you understand the back end, you can see it's getting the information of Kelvin from the contact agent again. And then it's going to use the calendar agent to schedule the meeting for tomorrow. And then it's going to get back to us right after it sends an email invite to Kelvin as well. Okay, here it is, sending an email invite. And once that is done, it will get back to us telling us that the meeting has been scheduled. So let's take a look at our calendar to see if we have received the invitation. You can see over here it's been added in. There is a meeting discussion invite as well to discuss our meeting for Blackpink tomorrow. So that's pretty cool, and this is just a simple example of what's possible with our AI agent. So let's come back to our workflow to really see how this actually works. So actually what I've done is to create my own personal AI assistant, and ironically it's called Cal as well, like my own clone personal AI assistant, right? And all of this is powered by open source model Qwen, which is a super powerful tool that came out after the release of DeepSeek recently. And I really think this year is the year for many different open source models. And through this exact same method, you could also use this for other open source models that you want to use like Mistral or Llama as well. Now coming back to the agent, you can see over here how this actually works, right? We have our own main AI agent over here called Cal, and Cal is then connected to 3 different AI agents. The first one is the email agent that helps us look at our emails and send emails out for us. And then secondly, we have the calendar agent, which helps us look at our calendar and create calendar invites for us as well. Thirdly, we have the contact agent, which helps us to keep track, update, and access our contact list from Airtable. And lastly, we have an amazing tool called Tavily that allows us to search the internet for the latest news in real time. So essentially, just by combining all these 4 agents to work together, we've essentially created our super AI agent to work for us. And so I'm going to run through with you how I actually built each of these AI agents, how I connect them to the open source model Qwen, and how you can actually build it too. And all of this is built in n8n, which is a super powerful automation tool that is low code and no code, and it supports open source perfectly as well. So just to get started, make sure to create an account on n8n, and you can check out my previous video on mastering n8n with AI agents to get started. And so once you get that done, we're going to start by creating our very first AI agent, which is our main personal assistant, Cal. But the first thing we want to do is to be able to connect it to a Telegram bot. So you can see over here by clicking the plus button, you'll be able to add in different nodes. And all these nodes are different modules and actions that helps us create our automation workflow. To first get this first node, you want to search for Telegram, and you want to find a Telegram trigger called update message. Okay, and once that is done, we're going to open this. And all you gotta do is to connect your Telegram account and adding a trigger for your Telegram bot. Right, the base URL is api.telegram.org. And how do we get this access token, right? So essentially, to create a Telegram bot, all you gotta do is to go into Telegram and search for bot father, right? After searching for add bot father, by typing /start, you will get access to this specific page over here. From here, it's very intuitive and very easy. All you gotta do is to click new bot to create a new bot, and you can give it a name, let's say Johnny the AI. Afterwards, you just have to give it a username. So you got to end the name with bot, so we can start with Johnny AI the bot. All right, okay. Once we have that, you're given an API token, which you can use to connect to your n8n platform. Very easy and very intuitive. And from there, you can then chat with your AI chatbot. Okay, and once you're done with that, make sure the trigger is set to message before we move forward. And this ensures that whenever we type a message in Telegram or send it through voice, it will trigger our n8n workflow. And before we continue this video, you can download all my resources and blueprints to follow along more effectively. Alright, and once that's done, the next thing you want to do is to create a switch module. So similarly, you want to search for switch. Okay, and you want to create a switch node. This will ensure that we're able to separate text as well as voice for AI agents to understand what we are trying to get it to do for us. Opening up switch, you can see over here, we're going to create 2 routing rules, and this to ensure that we separate them into the 2 categories that we want. The first one is the voice router, as well as the second one is the text router. To be able to gain access to the voice file, you can see over here we have the trigger from our previous conversations with the Telegram bot. All you gotta do is to search for the voice file ID, and you just have to drag it over here, and you can paste this in. You actually map our audio file into this specific switch. Similarly for the text as well, we're gonna look for something like json.message.text, and this can be found easily if we type in a text message through our Telegram chat. So let's try by showcasing an example. So we can say, hey there. Once we type that in, we're going to test out this workflow and we're going to see what happens. Once that is done, you can see over here in the switch module, we now have a different input from Telegram. And this is where we can get the text over here from our Telegram chat and paste it over here. Right. Another way you can also do this is to use the JSON format. Okay, make sure it's all in expression so that we can get access to the JSON text. And all you gotta do is type in 2 curly brackets over here and type in $JSON.message.text, and you will get the similar file as well. Okay, alright, and once that's done, what we want to do is to rename the output for both. So we're going to rename the first one as voice and the second one as text to make it easy for us to know where the switch is routing to. And you can see over here, once that is done, we do have the voice switch over here and the text switch over here. Okay, we're going to start off with the voice switch now. And after that, what we're going to do is download the audio file from Telegram and then transcribe it to text so that our agent can understand what it's saying. All right, so first we're going to add in another node by Telegram called getFile. Make sure the voice ID is from the previous node. So if you can't see this over here, all you're going to do once again is to talk to Telegram to get the information over. So we can start off by saying something simple like hello. All right, and we're just going to test out the workflow again. Okay. All right, and from here you will be able to see there is a file ID over here. We're just going to drag this over, paste this in, and there we have it. Perfect. Okay, and from here we're going to make sure download is checked. And once that is done, we're going to create an open AI node. We're just going to use the transcribe function. And so to do so, you just have to click plus, search for OpenAI, and you're going to look for transcribe a recording. Okay, open this, and most of it you do not have to change. The only thing you do have to add in is the language of the audio file. So you just have to click add option, and there will be a language option. And make sure to type in as EN if you are speaking in English, because sometimes the model may not understand and may transcribe it in a different language for you. But if you're doing it in Chinese or Spanish or any other different languages, you could then change it accordingly as well. Alright, and once this is done, we're good to go. Now moving down to the text workflow, all we gotta do is to map the text to the same format as well, so that our AI agent could understand what it is actually saying. So we're going to add in a edit field node. You can just search for edit field and you just have to add this in, okay? And from there, I'm gonna change the name to map to text to help us understand better. All we gotta do is to type in text as the field we want to set, and we'll keep it as string, and we'll link this to json.message.text, which is the previous information we've gotten from Telegram. And this is so that we convert the file to json.text for both audio and text so that our AI can understand better. And you can see this more clearly in the AI agent node after this. Alright, so after we're done with the input section from Telegram, we're going to go into the fun part, which is the AI agent. Okay, and one of the most amazing things about n8n is the AI agent node. So all you got to do is to click plus and you search for AI agent. Click onto this and you will have an AI agent node added. In the AI agent node itself, there are three main important points. The first one is the model, which is the model the AI will be using to interact with us. The second is memory, which is the memory space for the AI to understand previous conversations that we have spoke to it about. Thirdly is tools, which is functions and different tools that the AI can use to carry out tasks for us. Okay, and so let's start off with the chat model first. After creating our AI agent, the first thing we want to do is to add in our model. And for this example, we are using an open source model called Qwen. And Qwen is an amazing AI open source model created by Alibaba, which is relatively cheap and also very powerful. And so how do we connect to an open source model like Qwen? So how we're going to do that, essentially you can see from here is, if I click into the plus button under the chat model, you can see we do have access to all the different models over here. But we do not have all the open source models, right? So one of the methods I like to use is to use OpenRouter. OpenRouter is an amazing tool that allows us to connect to many different open source models, okay? And so how do we do that? Let's go into openrouter.ai. You have to create an account and you just have to add in some credits. You can start off with a few dollars of credits to get started. Right, once you have your credit, you want to find your API key. So you click into keys over here, create a key over here, and you just have to connect your key to your model. So that can be done by clicking into credentials and you have to add in your API key over here. And once that is done, you're able to connect your OpenRouter models to it. And so there's a lot of models that cannot use tools at the moment. So how do we know which model we can use for our specific AI agents right now, right? All you gotta do is to go into OpenRouter again, click into models, right? And from the side, there is a filter section. Click into tools, and you can see the supported parameters. You can see these are the different tools that can be used for the open source model, right? So for today, we want to use Qwen. So we search for Qwen. You can see over here, these are the four main models that can be used for our AI agents today. And coming back to n8n, we can search for the model. And so let's say we're going to start by using Qwen Max, which is a pretty powerful model. We just have to search for it, click into it, and we are done. And you can also rename this to make it easier. So I renamed this to Qwen Max to understand which model I'm using for this specific agent. Next up, we have to add in a memory. So for memory itself, it's quite straightforward. Click plus and you do have a couple of options here. Now to keep it simple for this demonstration, we can use the window buffer memory that stores all the memory in n8n, so no credentials are required. Right, so just connect it to the window buffer memory and open this up. And make sure that the key over here is undefined below, and it is written as json.text, as this is the format that we actually converted our text and audio files into that is used for our AI agent. Okay, and context window length is the number of past interactions the model will receive as context. So we can keep it as 5 to get started, but you can also expand it to more as well. Okay, perfect. And once this is done, very straightforward, we're done with the first two parts. And the next part that's exciting is the tool section. So before we get into the tool section, we just want to add in one last note at the end of our AI agent. And so the last note we want to do is to have a send message Telegram note. Right, what this does is that we want to make sure the AI agent actually replies to us on Telegram. If not, we will not be seeing anything and we'll just be talking to ourselves, right? So let's just send an information to our agent again to see what we can connect to the send message note. Right, we're just going to type hello there. Okay, and we're going to test the workflow. All right, so you can see over here from the previous JSON, we do have a couple of different inputs. What we're going to do is to add in the chat ID from the Telegram chat. So we just have to go into the Telegram trigger over here, okay? And we're going to look for the chat ID. We're going to drag this over and paste this in. And there we have it. We do have the JSON message Telegram trigger over here. Another way you can also add this in is from the switch. So over here from the switch, we do have the exact same ID as well. So you can drag this over and it works the same. Once this is done, we also want to make sure to add in the text, right? This is the output from the AI agent. We just have to go to our AI agent over here, which is Kel AI, and we have to drag the output to the text section. Once this is done, we will have the output from our AI agent as seen in our Telegram chat. Okay, but one last thing we want to do is to add in a field as well, and make sure to add in this field called append n8n attribution. This is so that we want to make sure that n8n doesn't add in the phrase "this message was sent automatically with n8n." So we add this additional field in and make sure to turn this off. And from there, this is all you got to do for the Telegram site to be able to chat with the AI agent effectively. So now coming back to the fun part, we do have 4 different tools that we want to use today for this specific workflow. Now the first one is the email agent. The second is the calendar agent. The third is the contact agent. And the fourth is the Tavily tool. And so how do we actually do so is that you can see from here, I've actually created different AI agent workflows as well. And we're going to use this first agent to call each of them. Okay, and how do we do so? Firstly is to add in a new tool, and we're going to use this tool called call n8n workflow. And over here, you just have to give it a name, a description, and a workflow list, which would be the different workflows that we'll create later on. Okay, let me use an example to showcase to you how this actually works. So if you take a look over here for my email agent, I've renamed this to email agent, and I also give it a name, email agent as well. Right, I give it a description to tell it to call this tool for any email actions, and then I choose from my workflow, number 2, email agent, which is this specific workflow over here. Now I'll do the same thing for each of the different agents as well. So I'll recreate this, create one for the calendar agent, and one last one for the contact agent as well. So not to worry if you haven't created any of these agents yet. You can just create this specific node first, and then we'll create each of these agents and then connect them from our workflow list. Okay, once it's done, we also want to add in the Tavily tool. So we're going to run through this first before we go into the agents. The Tavily tool is pretty straightforward. We're going to use this thing called HTTP request. So we're going to search for HTTP request, and this allows us to create a request to the internet and a request to an API to get access to what we want. And after adding in the HTTP request, we can rename this to Tavily, and we'll get something like this. Once again, we'll give it a description of what we want it to do. Okay. Next up, how do we get all this information to connect to Tavily, right? So first, we're going to go into Tavily. It's an amazing search tool for AI agents, and I find it to be super effective and super up-to-date, as you can see from our previous interactions early on for the Blackpink news. So you just have to create an account in Tavily, and there is a free 1000 credits, and each search request is only 1 credit, so you can actually use this a lot before you actually want to pay for it. So from here, easily after creating an account, you just have to copy your API key and paste it over later on in our n8n platform. Alright, and so how do we do this? Let's go into documentation. And so we're going to use the Tavily search function. Right, so we're going to go into Tavily search. Okay, and this is how we're going to use it. So all of the instructions are actually shown over here, and I can show you how we actually bring it over to n8n. And from here, you can see it starts off by telling us that it's post. So we're going to make sure that it is post in our HTTP request. Okay, and then from here, we're going to look at this curl section over here. So this is the URL, api.tavily.com/search, and we just have to paste this in. Authentication, we'll put it as none. Send query parameters, turn it off. Send headers, turn it off. And we want to turn on this send body section. And this so that we can add in the JSON format below for the Tavily API. But to make it simple for you guys, you just have to copy what I have over here. You can insert your API key that you've gotten from Tavily. We're going to type in query, search term, search depth, keep it as basic. Include answer true, topic news, include raw content true, and max result we can keep it as 3 for now, and that's all we gotta do. And then we can add in a placeholder definition. So the placeholder name will be search term, description what the user has requested to search the internet for, and keep the type as string. And once this is done, you will be able to have your Tavily function over here. Perfect. Now coming back, once that is done, you will have something like this, but it's not fully functional yet. We do have to create the other 3 agents before we can get this workflow running. So now let's come into the agent node to see what we need to add in here. Firstly, you can see over here, the agent we want to select is the tool agent. We want to have these agents to use the tools for us. And I renamed this to Qwen AI over here. And for the source for prompt, we want to define below. We're going to drag over the text from map to text, which is the JSON.text over here. And once this is done, we want to give it a system message. So the system message is actually pretty important, as this is the prompt that we want to instruct our agents to carry out a specific instruction for us. I do have a GPT agent to craft prompts for us. So if you want to gain access to this GPT to create prompts for you, you can get it in my resources link in the description below as well. And you see over here, after generating the prompt that I want, I will paste it into the system message and click into expression for it to work effectively. Okay, so let's quickly run through the prompt to help us understand why we type in a certain way quickly. Firstly, I'll start off by telling the AI agent its primary role, right, which is to route user queries to the appropriate tools based on the tasks required. Okay, and I'll give it some context and capabilities, such as task delegation, where the agent does not write emails, manage calendars, or perform search, but delegates these tasks to the specialized tools. Okay, you also have tool selections, which allows the agent to route user queries to the appropriate tools based on the request types. Information gathering, ensuring that the agent gets the contact details before actually calling a tool, such as sending out an email. And also some error handling, such as if required information is missing, it should prompt the user to get this information once again. And next, the most important part is actually the tools and the function. So you can see I've actually named all the different tools in this specific format and what each of these different tools does. So I start out by telling it the email agent is for it to handle email related actions such as sending, drafting, or organizing emails. The calendar agent, which is to manage calendar events such as creating, updating, or deleting events. The contact agent to retrieve, update, or add contact details, and Tavily to search the internet for information. Following that, I also add in some agent workflows and rules, such as identifying the action type to gather required information, call the correct tool, and confirm task completion. Beyond that, what I also like to do is add in 3 different examples so the agent understands how to actually call the different tools. So the first one I actually start off by telling it to do is to give it an example of sending out an email, with an example of a user input asking it to send an email to Qwen to ask for a follow-up on his project, right? From there, I give an example action step, such as using the contact agent to retrieve Qwen's email address, and then send Qwen insert email address and email to ask him what the project is so far. And lastly, to respond to the user, the email has been sent to Qwen, what else can I do for you? And this is just one example to help the AI understand how to actually call these different tools. I give it a couple more examples as well over here. A follow-up on error handling, such as if a tool fails, notify the user and provide alternative suggestions, and some final notes to once again reinforce certain details that we want for the agent. What I find effective over here is that in the final notes section, it is useful to reinforce any information that we want to make sure the agent doesn't forget, such as we want to make sure that it doesn't compose emails or take actions itself. It needs to ask the other agents to do it for you. And want to make sure that you also always confirm task completions or request additional information from the user if needed. And this effectively makes our agent customized to the specific use cases that we want for this specific workflow. And similarly, I'll be doing this exact same thing for the other 3 agents that we'll be creating later on as well. And so once again, in the span of time, I won't be able to go through all of them in detail, but you can get access to all the prompts linked in the description below as well. Okay, and once this is done, make sure to save this and we're good to go. We just have to create the next 3 agents and we will be able to run our full workflow. And so I'm going to run through them very quickly to help you understand how this works. Okay, so let's start off with the email agent. Firstly, this is going to be triggered when executed by another workflow. You can see over here, I'm actually created a define field below. And for input data, I'm going to use define using fields below. Okay, and I'm going to type in query and the type is string. This ensures that the information that is received by this specific AI agent is the query given by Qwen AI, our personal AI assistant. All right. Once this is done, we're going to connect it to an AI agent node. And we're going to call this email agent. So you just have to rename this to email agent in this specific format that we have created earlier on. Okay. And from here, we're just going to add in a couple of tools. As this is the Gmail agent, I'm going to give it 5 different Gmail tools, starting with send email reply, create draft, get emails, and mark unread. How do we do so is to search for the Gmail tool. Okay. Click into Gmail, and you can find all of this different information over here. Now you can definitely add in way more, but we're just going to keep it to these 5 for now for our assistant. So to add in a send email action, you just have to find send a message and you click into this and you will get this specific action over here. Same for the rest. You just have to search for the one that you want and add it into the tool section. Now for this email agent, we do not need memory as we will be calling it only once, and it will send the information back to our personal AI assistant. Now let's go into each of the two first to see how we actually configure them. To start off with the send email to, one of the functions that we're going to use is the from AI function. This is a pretty cool function that actually allows the AI to get the information from the input, which is not fixed. So for example, each time we ask our personal assistant for different emails, you'll actually be receiving different information from there. Firstly, we want to make sure the operation is under send, okay? And then we're going to click expression. Right, we're going to start by creating this curly bracket over here. And we're going to type in this money sign from AI. Okay, from here you can see, all you gotta do is to type in the key, which is what the exact information is. And then we can have a comma, and then we can add in a description after that to actually help the AI understand what this specific information is about. You can also add in types and default value as well, but let's keep it as this first two for now. And so to start off by telling it what email to send to, I'll tell it from AI email, and I'll explain to it it is the email of a contact. Same for the subject, from AI subject, and it will be the subject of an email. And lastly, message, from AI email body, the content body of email. And we're just going to keep this email type to HTML. Okay, once this is done, we're going to click back and we're going to look into the other fields. For email replies, similarly, the operation is under reply and the message ID will be from AI ID, the message ID, so that we can actually get access to the specific message ID that we want. The email type would be HTML. The message would be from AI email body. The same thing for create draft, so make sure the resource is draft, operation create. The subject, once again from AI subject, message from AI email body, to from AI email address. Perfect. Okay, and we're going to quickly run through the last two. Get emails. Get emails, want to make sure to have the operation get many so that you can actually access all the different emails that we want and get the information of our latest emails as requested. And the limit, we can either have a fixed limit, or in this case, I want it to be from the user as well. So the limit would be from AI, limit, how many emails the user actually wants. And the sender would be from AI, sender, who the emails are from. Perfect, okay. And lastly, mark as unread. Similarly, we want to make sure the message ID is from AI, message ID. And before we continue, to make sure that this actually works, you just have to sign in with Google and make sure the authentication is created under the Google developer account. You go into Google Cloud Console and make sure that all the API is actually set to enabled. You want to make sure to add in your old consent screen. You want to make sure to have your authentication set properly as well. All right. And now let's come back to our n8n platform. Okay, once this is done, I also use my GPT agent to create a prompt for us. I'll tell it that it's an email assistant agent. I'll make sure to brief the different tools that you can use, such as the send email tool, create draft tool, get email tool, mark and read tool, as well as the email reply tool. I'll give it some agent workflows and rules as well, okay, and some examples, right, on sending an email, creating an email draft, replying to an email, and some error handling and clarification. Perfect. And once this is done, I also make sure to tell it that all emails must be sent off as Cal from dainami AI to make sure there's no errors in the email sent out. All right, perfect. Okay, once this is done, we're going to add in one final note, which is the edit field note, to make sure that it is success. So we're going to make sure it's manual mapping. You're going to have response over here in string, and you want to have it set to JSON output. And this is to make sure that the output would be sent back to our main agent over here later on to understand that the process has been completed perfectly. Okay, perfect. All right, and there we have it. We do have our email agent completed. Click save. Make sure to connect it over here by connecting your agent from the workflow list, and we are done. And so then we're going to do the same thing for the next two agents. We're going to create, this time just with different tools, the calendar agent with access to our calendar tool, and the contact agent with access to our Airtable contact list. So I'm going to run through them very quickly as the methods are pretty much the same. So let's go into our calendar agent. Over here, similarly, we do have 5 different tools, which is update event, delete event, get event, create event, and create event with attendee, all with the Google Calendar function, okay? And from here, I'm going to use a different model, which is Qwen Plus, as I find it enough for this specific activity for now, and I also want to test out different models for different agents, okay? And to do so, I just changed the model to Qwen Plus over here. You can also change the model to any different models that you want for your own specific workflow. Coming back, let's take a look at the different nodes. Same thing here for the update event. You can see, make sure the operation is update. Okay, the event ID is from AI event ID, once again, all taken from the AI. And one of the things I like to do is update the fields, so the end time and start time of a specific event that we want to update. Right, I want to make sure this is also from the AI, so that when we tell it we want to update, let's say 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., it will get the specific information, not in a fixed format. So we can use from AI end time and from AI start time. Perfect. And we'll do the same for the other tools as well. So delete event, we use the event ID from AI, event ID. Make sure to connect the calendar that you want the AI to access as well. Next is get events. So this is to help us get the events from the calendar. And we want to add in these two fields, which is after from AI day after and before from AI day before, to help you understand which specific day we want to look at. Okay. And last two fields, create event, same thing. Start, we want to make sure it's from AI event start and end from AI event end. So you can see the similarities. All of this information is actually retrieved from our personal AI assistant. And what this AI does for us is just to specifically handle the event management task before actually returning back to our personal assistant. So very specific for each of these specific agents, which makes it more accurate and provides a better result for us. And lastly, of course, create event with attendee. We can also get the attendee email that we can receive from the AI and a summary of the event title as well. Perfect. Okay. And of course, from here, we want to make sure to add in two fields, success and error. And this is also useful if you want AI to understand that something has went wrong. Or try again field can be something like this. With the response, it's a string. If there's an error, we set a response to unable to perform tasks, please try again. And if it's successful, we'll set it to response, the JSON output, which is the output we're going to give back to our personal AI assistant to tell it that this specific workflow has run perfectly. Alright, and click save, and we're done with this. Once again, when executed by another workflow. Over here, another way you can also do so is to accept all data to make sure that this workflow actually works perfectly. Alright, and now let's go into the final one, which is the contact agent. This is the simplest one, so we just have to get the contact and add or update contact from our Airtable. I'm going to use the Qwen Plus model as well. And so I've created a simple Airtable contact list over here that we can use. So I do have the name, the email, the phone number, the tag, the priority, and some notes. All right, and to connect your Airtable, you just have to go into airtable.com/create tokens. Make sure to search for the token over here and make sure to approve your specific base. Okay, once that is done, we're just going to go into n8n. Okay, and we're just going to approve them, and we're going to create these two specific tools, right? Make sure to connect your token over here. Okay, and this first tool is to search the Airtable for contact information, and we just have to click return all. Very straightforward, very easy, and that's done. And next one is add or update contact. So we can use the operation create or update, and from there we can choose the base, which is contact information over here, and the table is table 1. And then over here, once you refresh this, there is a list of values to update. All right, so same thing here. We can use the from AI function, and then we can update the name, the email, the phone number, tag, priority, and notes accordingly. So you just have to fill in this according to what you want to update, and there you have it. Very easy, very quick. And similarly, same thing, add in your response for try again and success. All right, and once this is done, there you have it. You have all 4 agents working perfectly back to back. And now all you gotta do is to come back to this specific workflow. Okay. Click save, and once you're ready for it, you just have to turn it on to active, and this workflow will run for you live, and then you can chat with your AI agents back to back non-stop and have your own specific AI JARVIS to do all the tasks for you, such as sending out emails, sending out calendar invites, or even searching the internet and doing multiple tasks that requires them to use all these different tools together. And so the real power really is not just in how they can use each of their specific tool, but how they combine these different tools to do even more amazing things, such as our first example by sending out the Blackpink article email by searching for Blackpink article from the internet and then searching for the contact from our contact list and then sending out the email crafted specifically to it. And so you can say this is just one example of all the amazing things that this specific AI agent can do for you. So there you have it. I hope this helps you understand how powerful AI agents could actually be. And this is an example of how you can connect multiple AI agents to work for you, specifically using open source models. Now, in this same exact method, you could also use closed source models like OpenAI and other different models as well. And the sky is really the limit here. So do give it a try and create your own AI agents and let me know what you think. If you like videos like this, do give it a like and subscribe, as I will be creating more videos on AI agents that you can use practically today. Till then, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.